أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك آمين. We are doing Surah Hajj, and this is the second part of the surah, in which we will complete from verse number 26 till 37 inshallah. وَإِذَا بَوَّانَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَنْ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَرُكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. When we showed Ibrahim the location of the house, saying, "Do not ascribe any as partner to myself, and cleanse my house for those who make tawaf, those who stand in salah, those who bow, and those who prostrate. وَأَذِّنْ فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوا رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ. And announce the Hajj among the people. They will come to you on foot and on envy lean and camel, traveling from every distant route. لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعَ لَهُمْ وَيَذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ عَلَى مَا رَزَقَهُم مِّن بَهِيمَةِ الْأَنْعَامِ فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرَ. To witness, verse number is 28. To witness the things be of benefit for them, and during the stipulated days to make Allah's name on every animal that Allah has provided for them. So eat from it and feed it to the afflicted poor. ثم ليقضوا تفاثهم وليوفوا نذوركم وَلْيَطَّوَّفُوا بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ. Then they should remove their unitedness and fulfill their oath and perform tawaf around the Baitul Atiq, that is Khana Kaaba. The Kaaba was initially constructed by the angels, and Hazrat Adam alayhi salam later reconstructed it for a second time. However, after the floods during the time of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, no sign was left of the Kaaba. Thereafter, Allah commanded Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam to reconstruct the Kaaba. However, since the exact location was not known to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah pointed it out to him. As mentioned in the verse, when we showed Ibrahim the location of the house, Allah sent a strong wind which exposed the foundations of the Kaaba for Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam to see. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam told his son Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam that his Rabb has commanded him to fulfill a certain task. When Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam told his father that he should obey Allah's command, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam requested his help. Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam duly compiled. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam pointed to a hill and told his son that Allah has condemned him to construct a house at that location. The two then commanded raising the foundation of the Kaaba, Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam using to bring the stones, and Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam would lay them down. Eventually, when the walls become high, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam used the stone known as the Muqam Ibrahim as a ladder to continue the construction. Allah also commanded Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, saying, "Do not ascribe any as partner of myself, and cleanse my house for those who make tawaf, those who stand in salah, those who bow, and those who prostrate." Allah says in Surah Baqarah, "We commanded Ibrahim and Ismail, saying, Purify my house for those who perform tawaf, those who remain secluded therein, and those who bow in ruku and prostrate. Verse number is 125. In these verses, Allah commands that the Kaaba in Masjid al-Haram be kept clean because tawaf and salah take place there. This command includes cleaning the place from kufr, shirk, lies, all types of evil and sin. Physical forms of impurities like dirt and rubbish must also be removed. Tawaf can be performed only in the Masjid al-Haram. According to Hazrat Sayyid bin Jubair radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the words those who reside there refers to those people who live in Makkah. Hazrat Atta Rahmullah says that it referred to those people who come from other places and stay in the Masjid al-Haram. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu has mentioned, we are regarded as those who reside there. Whenever we sit in the Masjid al-Haram, the general context of the verse even includes those people who perform itikaf in the Masjid al-Haram. In both the above verses, those who bow and those who prostrate refers to those people who perform salah in the Masjid al-Haram. The words those who stand also refer to those people who perform salah. In this way, the three postures of salah, that is ruku, sajda and qiyam, will all have been mentioned. Some commentators have interpreted those who stand to mean those people who reside there. Whatever the interpretation, the fact is clear that the custodians are obliged to keep the Kaaba and the Masjid al-Haram clean and to allow people to perform tawaf and salah there at all times. With the grace of Allah, the doors of Masjid al-Haram have remained open to people since the time that Makkah was conquered by the Muslims until today, and announces the Hajj among the people when Hazrat Ibrahim salam and Hazrat Ismail salam completed the construction. Allah commanded Hazrat Ibrahim salam to call people for Hajj. He submitted, "O my Rabb, how can I announce to the people when my voice cannot reach them?" Allah told him, "You make the announcement. We shall ensure that the message reaches." Consequently, Hazrat Ibrahim salam stood on Mount Safa, or according to another narration, on Mount of Abu Qubais, and announced, "O people, indeed your Rabb has appointed a house to make Hajj of it." Allah made the call reach every corner of the world and to reach every person who was destined to perform Hajj, even those people who were yet unborn in the wombs of their mothers and in the backs of their fathers. Every person who was destined to perform Hajj until the day of Qiyamah responded to this call by saying, "Labbaik Allahumma labbaik." This has been reported from Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Reply to the past could not understand how a person's voice could reach the entire world. However, with the invention of modern instruments, this is not hard to believe. Allah promised Hazrat Ibrahim salam that when he makes the announcement, people will come to you on foot and on every lean camel traveling from every distant road. The Arabs used to feed their camels and horses less so that they would become lean and travel faster. When Hazrat Ibrahim salam left his family in Makkah, he prayed to Allah, saying, "Cause some hearts of people to be inclined towards them." Allah accepted this dua, and until today, millions of people have traveled from all parts of the world to make the Hajj. The people of Makkah have benefited tremendously from the influx of people to Makkah, and these people also benefit greatly from them in terms of the world and in terms of deen. This has been referred to in the verse to witness the things of benefit for them. Some details of this have been given in the commentary of the verse. Allah has made the Kaaba, the sacred house, a means by which mankind remains in existence, as well as the scared ones, the, the sacrificial animal and garlands places around in its neck. Verse number 97, Surah Al-Ma'idah. And during their stipulated days, to make Allah's name on every animal that Allah has provided for them, some commentators have mentioned that the stipulated days refer to the first 10 days of Zil Hajj. Zikr should be made in abundance during these days. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu has narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that good deeds are most beloved to Allah during their first 10 days of Zil Hajj. The Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum asked, is jihad also not better than worship during these days? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, even jihad is not better than worship during these days, except for the person who proceeds in jihad with his wealth and life, not returning with either of the two, narrated by Mishkat, page 128. Allah mentions that during these 10 days, man should thank Allah for the animals that he is able to slaughter. Although the animals are slaughtered only on the 10th day, the preceding days are spent searching for the animals, feeding it, and preparing it for the day of sacrifice. These are all Allah's bounties. The religious significance of the sacrifice is that it secures Allah's pleasure when the animal is offered before Allah. The sacrifice is also of worldly benefit because one right the animal eats the flesh and drinks the milk. Other commentators have interpreted the stipulated days to mean that the days of Nahar, 10th, 11th, and 12th of Zil Hajj. During these days, all the people of the world offer their sacrifices. Allah's zikr should also be made in abundance when people are slaughtering their animals at Mina. Allah says in Surah Baqarah, carry out the zikr remembrance of Allah during the limited days, that is the day of Mina, verse number 203. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha reports that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, pelting the Jamarat and say between Safa and Marwa have been ordained to establish Allah's dhikr, narrated by Tirmizi. Every aspect of Hajj is filled with Allah's remembrance, be it reciting the Talbiyah, Tawaf, Sa'i, or while staying at Arafat, Muzdalifah, and Mina. Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 1, page 178 reports that Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to recite that Talbiyah, Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik, while in gathering, on their beds, and on the road. MashaAllah. Allahu Akbar. Muslim, Volume 1, page 360 reports that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, do not fast during these days because these are the days of eating, drinking, and remembrance of Allah. The animals mentioned in the verse refer to those animals that may be slaughtered during the day of Nahar, and not all animals. One may slaughter only cattle, camel, goats, and sheep. Oxen may also be slaughtered because they are like cattle. The age of these animals have been stipulated by the Sharia, and the animals must be free of any defects unless these are minimal. The details of this can be found in the books of jurisprudence. Camels have to be at least 5 years of age before they are deemed fit for sacrifice. Cattle and oxen have to be at least 2 years old, while sheep and goats need to be at least 1 year old. 7 people can share a single camel, cow, bull, or ox for sacrificial purposes. The Quran has termed the sacrificial animal to be slaughtered by the Haji person performing Hajj as Hadi. It is compulsory for the person performing Tamattu and Kiran Hajj to slaughter an animal. The animals can be slaughtered at any time during the 10th, 11th, and 12th of Zil Hajj. If the Haji slaughters the animal after sunset of the 12th, he will have to slaughter another animal as a plenty, dam. The person performing tamattu or kiran can shave or trim their hair only after slaughtering. If he does so because before slaughtering, he will have to slaughter another animal as a penalty, dam. The person performing the Ifrad Hajj or does not have to slaughter an animal unless he wants to. So eat from it and feed it to the afflicted poor. There are four categories of sacrifices to take place during Hajj. The first is the animal slaughtered by those who perform the Tamattu and Kiran Hajj. The second is that animal that is slaughtered on a voluntary basis. These two types of animals, as well the one slaughtered by people not on Hajj, can be eaten by the slaughterer himself, although he can use the meat as he pleases. It is best that he reserves one third for the poor. The third category of sacrifice is the animal which that is slaughtered as a penalty for an offense committed by the Haji. The fourth is the animal slaughtered because of ashar, that is when a person cannot complete his Hajj. These two types of sacrifice require that all the meat of animal be given to poor people. Although it is best to distribute the meat among the poor people living within the haram, it is not obligatory to do so. The person making the sacrifice cannot eat the meat of the last two categories of sacrifices, nor can his family eat from it, nor any person who possesses nisab. Although all the people four types of sacrifices except the second, the optional one, have to be carried out within the haram, it is best that the first takes place at Mina. The detailed laws pertaining to the above can be found to the books of jurisprudence. Much has also been discussed in the commentary of the verse 196 and the consequent verses of Surah Baqarah. Then they should remove their untidiness. On the 10th of Zulhajj, the Hajis proceed to Mina from Muzdalifah. The person performing the Ifrat Hajj will now pelt only the Jumrah Aqaba, after which he can have his hair shaved. However, if he wills, he can slaughter an animal before shaving or trimming. Those performing the Tamattu and Kiran Hajj will have to first pelt the Jumrah Uqaba, then slaughter, then shave to trim their hair. Thereafter, they will be allowed to cut their nails and remove out unwanted hair from the body. This hair is referred to in the above verses as untidiness. The Haji has the choice to have his hair shaved or trimmed, shaving being best. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam thrice made dua for mercy upon those who have their hair shaved, while he only made it once for those who have their hair trimmed. Women, of course, are not permitted to have their hair shaved. When the man has his hair trimmed, the entire head should be trimmed by the length of about an inch. The minimum requirement is that at least the hair of a quarter of the head must be cut. If the hair is not long enough to meet these requirements, he has to have the hair shaved off. The recent practice of clipping only a few hairs is not established from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the Sahaba radhiyallahu ta'ala anhum. This practice will not qualify to release a person from ihram. He will have to at least shave all the hair or trim an inch of at least a quarter of the head's hair. It is if this is not done, the person will remain perpetually in ihram, after which he will be liable to penalties if he wears fitting clothes, applies perfumes at his nails, etc. They should fulfill their oaths. When people have vowed to carry out certain acts of worship, they will be obliged to fulfill these. Praising the righteous on Surah Dahr, Allah says about them, they fulfill their oath and fear the days when adversity will be widespread. Verse number 7. And they should perform tawaf around the Baitul Atiq, that is Kaaba. Hazrat Abdullah bin Zubair radhiyallahu ta'ala narrates from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah named the Kaaba Baitul Atiq, the free house, because it has been freed from tyrant and despots. they can never gain control of it. There are three farais obligatory requests of Hajj. The first is to adopt the state of Ihram. The second is to present at Arafat at any time from other midday of the 9th of Zilhajj until dawn of the 10th. This is termed Wakuful Arafah. The third is to perform what is termed as the Tawaf Ziyara, Tawaf Ifada, Tawaf Rukn, or the Tawaf Farais. Commentators say that the above portion of the verse refers to the performance of this tawaf ziyarah because it follows after the removal of one's untidiness. This was the procedure followed by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, a person will be permitted to proceed straight to Makkah from Muzdalifah for this tawaf. This tawaf can be performed at any time during the days and nights of the 10th, 11th, and 12th of Zilhajj. If a person was forced by extenuating circumstances to delay this tawaf until after sunset of the 12th, it can still be performed with a penalty. If the tawaf ziyarah is missed completely, it cannot be recompensed. Only the person who dies after the Wakuf Arafah is able to bequest that a camel or cow be slaughtered on his behalf as a compensation for the missed Tawaf Ziyarah. The meat of this animal must be distributed among the poor. The Tawaf of Qudum is the only Sunnah Tawaf during Hajj. This is performed upon arrival in Makkah. The Tawaf of Wida is wajib and will be performed before leaving Makkah after the Tawaf Ziyarah. However, this is only wajib for those people who live outside the Haram and Hill, that is the area adjacent to the Haram. Every other tawaf will be regarded as optional. However, when a person vows to make tawaf, it will be wajib for him to fulfill his oath. Every tawaf comprises 7 circuits around the Kaaba, each with its beginning and end at the Hajar al-Aswad. If the Tawaf Ziyarah is not performed, it can be performed at any other time during one's lifetime. However, a person will be unable to cohabit with the tawaf until the tawaf is performed. If the person ever does cohabit, there will be different types of penalties according to the specific act. Sometimes the penalty will be to slaughter a goat, while at other times he will have to slaughter a camel or a cow. In the cohabitation takes place several times in one place after shaving or trimming the hair, only one penalty will be due. It is occurred at many places, several penalties will be due. Verse number 30. ذَلِكَ وَمَنْ يُؤَذِّمْ حُرُمَاتِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ عند ربه وأهلت لكم الأنعام إلا ما يتلى عليكم فاجتنبوا الرجس من الأوثان واجتنبوا قول الزور. So be it, and whoever will respect Allah's sacred thing, then this will be best for him with his Rabb. Animals have been permitted for you with the exception of those that have been recited to you. So abstain from the impurity of idols and abstain from false stock. حنفاء لله غير مشركين به ومن يشرك بالله فكأنما خر من السماء فتخطفه الطير أو تهوي به الريح في مكان سحيق. In a state that you are inclined only towards Allah, not ascribing any partners to Him, the example of the one who ascribes partners to Allah is like the one who has fallen from the sky, to have his remains snatched up by birds or blown off to a distant place by the wind. ذلك ومن يؤذم شائر الله فإنها من تقوى القلوب. So be it, and whoever honors Allah's sign, this is then this is because of the taqwa of hearts. Verse number 33. لكم فيها منافع وإلى أجل مسمى ثم مهله لها إلى البيت الأتيق. Translation: There are things of benefit for you in it until a stipulated period. Then their destination is the Baitul Atiq. The author of Ruhul Mani says the word Zalika, translated above as to so be it, is used in Arabic to denote one subject has been terminated. It therefore signifies the beginning of another topic and another facet to the same topic. According to others, it serves to tell the leaders that one should practice what has been mentioned. Allah says thereafter, and whosoever will respect Allah's sacred thing, then this will be best and most rewarding for him with his Rabb. The author of Ruhul Mani says that Allah's sacred thing refers to all those things that Allah has commanded man to reverse. Be these related to Hajj or not, this includes Salah, the knowledge of Deen, and all the acts of devotion ordained by the Sharia. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas anhu says that the instruction to respect Allah's sacred thing means that one should abstain from all sins during Hajj. These includes disputing, behaving intimately with one's spouse, hunting, and perpetrating the acts that are normally forbidden in the state of Ihram. The slaughtering and consuming of animals have been permitted for you, with the exception of those that have been recited to you. That is, recited to you in the Quran. The details of this forbidden food have been mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Maida, and Surah Anam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has made mention of the rest. The author of Ruhul Mani has mentioned that this point has been made here to inform people that the Hajis can slaughter the animals that are usually slaughtered as sacrifice. They are only not permitted to hunt and kill other animals. To so abstain from the impurity of idols, here Allah warns the Muslims to abstain from the practice of the mushrikeen who used to consider their sacrifices as devotions to their idols. Allah has also mentioned this point during the discussion of Hajj, because the mushrikeen added these practices to the Hajj recite that Hazrat Ibrahim salam taught them. They also added the following words to their talbiyah: you, Allah, have no partners besides the partners that are with you. Allah then commands and abstain from false talk, although all lies should be shunned. This verse refers particularly to the lie that the mushrikeen spoke about Allah. This occurred when they attributed certain fabricated prohibition to Allah. This discussion is given in the commentary of the verse in 103 of Surah Maida, where Allah says, Allah did not ordain the bariha, or nor the sahiba, nor the wasila, nor the ham. But the kuffar had invented a lie about Allah, and most of them have no understanding. These are the names of the animals who used to be sacrificed. The subject has also been discussed in the commentary of verse 28 of Surah Araf, where Allah says, when they perpetrate a sin, they say, we found our forefather upon this, and Allah has commanded us with it. Say, surely Allah does not command lewdness. Do you say against Allah, what do you know not? Hazrat Khurram bin Fatih Raziallah Ta'ala anhu reports that once after Fajr Salah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam thrice declared that rendering false testimony is equivalent to shirk. Thereafter, he recited the verse, so abstain from the impurity of idols and abstain from false talk, in a state that you are inclined only towards Allah, not ascribing any partner to Him. This verse mentioned false talk immediately after idols, indicating that the two are linked. Allah then describes that condition of the mushrikeen. He says the example of one who ascribes partners to Allah is like one who has fallen from the sky. To have this remain snatched up by birds or blown off to a distant place by the mind. Alama Baghawi Rahmullah has mentioned in Malumat-e-Tanzeel, Volume 3, page 286, that this example depicts that the mushrik will be destroyed in any event and will not be able to avoid this his amendment destruction. Just like the person in the similitude, he will suffer in Jahannam until eternity unless he repents and accepts Islam. In writer's opinion, the similitude depicts the control and that idols and other false god has on people. These people have allowed these gods to control their lives, thereby placing themselves in the talons of these gods. They are then reduced a bit of flesh by these predators, having their remains scattered about. The second similitude of being blown off to distant place by the wind is similar to the similitude cited in Surah Anam, where Allah says, "He whom Shaitan had deviated from the path in a forest, leaving him bewildered when he has companions calling him to guidance, saying, 'Come to us.' The deviated person cannot reach the straight path despite being called from all directions. Whereas he goes, he fails deeper into the deviation. Allah knows best. So be it, and whoever honors Allah's sign, then this is because of the taqwa of hearts. Only those people who have taqwa will be able to honor Allah's sign. Although Allah's are included in the broad meaning of Allah's sacred things, it has been mentioned separately to emphasize the command. Allah says in Surah Baqarah, verify Safa and Marwa are from the signs of Allah. Allah says in verse 2 of Surah Ma'idah, verse number 5, O you who believe, do not legalize Allah's sign. Allah says, Allah's signs refer to all things that have been ordained as means of worship. However, some commentators have restricted the sense of this verse to specific thing. Hazrat Zaid bin Aslam Raziallahu Ta'ala anhu says that the Allah's signs are six, that is, Safa and Marwa; two, the sacrificial animal; three, the area where pelting takes place during Hajj; four, the Masjidul Haram; five, Arafat; six, the Rukn, that is the black stone. Respecting these signs means that the action stipulated for those places should be carried out when one is present there. Hazrat Umar Raziallahu Ta'ala anhu has mentioned that all the sites of Hajj are included in Allah's sign. Therefore, Mina and Muzdalifah will also be included. There are things of benefit for you therein, that is, the sacrificial animals until a stipulated period before these animals are designated to the slaughter as sacrifices. They can be used for various purposes like riding and milking. However, once they are fixed to the sacrifice, no benefit can be derived from them for them. Even their wool cannot be sheared. They may be used for riding only under extreme conditions when other animals are available. In the past, many people used to take their sacrificial animals along with them from their homes. The rule that apply to such a person will differ from those that apply to other people. When performing the farewell Hajj, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent many animals ahead with Hazrat Najaya Aslami Raziyallahu ta'ala anhu. Hazrat Ali Raziyallahu ta'ala anhu also brought many from Yemen for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There were 100 in number, all of which were slaughtered by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the help of Hazrat Ali Raziyallahu ta'ala anhu. Although the person performing Hajj Tamutta and Kiran has to slaughter only one animal, he will be greatly rewarded for every extra animal that he slaughters. The person performing Umrah does not have to slaughter an animal, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took an animal along with him for Umrah in the 6th year after Hijrah, which he had to slaughter at Hudaybiyah after being prevented from entering Mecca. The udars of the sacrificial animals should be sprinkled with cold water to prevent milk from filling. This will save the animal pain because the milk cannot be removed. The reins and saddles blanket of the sacrificed animal must be donated to charity and cannot be given as wages to anyone assisted in the slaughtering. Then their destination is the Baitul Atiq. The animals to be sacrificed during Hajj have to be slaughtered within the borders of the Haram. About the penalty for ihsar, animal has mentioned ihsar. Yes, Allah has mentioned, and do not shave your heads until the sacrificial animals have reached its place. This was also stated as a condition in the verse where Allah describes the penalty for haunting, verse number 95, Surah Al Ma'idah. Rule: if the animal which was to be sacrificed on an optional basis comes too close to dying while traveling to Mecca, it should be slaughtered on the spot and marked with its blood so that the poor may realize that they can use the animal. An owner may not use any part of this animal. If it is wajib for the person who sacrifices an animal and if it develops a defect or falls seriously ill en route to Makkah, he will have to purchase a replacement. He can then do as he pleases with the first animal. Verse number 34. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ جَعَلْنَا مَنْسَكًا لِيَذْكُرُوا اسْمَ اللَّهِ عَلَى مَا رَزَقَهُم مِّن بَهِيمَةِ الْأَنْعَامِ وَإِلَٰهُكُمْ إِلَٰهٌ وَاحِدٌ فَلَهُ أَسْلِمُوا وَبَشِّرِ الْمُخْبِتِينَ. We have ordained rites for every nation so that they may take Allah's name on the animals that Allah has provided for them. Your deity is that, but deity, so submit to him and convey glad tidings to the humble. Verse number 35. الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم والصابرين على ما أصابهم والمقيم الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Those who, when Allah is mentioned, their hearts tremble, who patiently endure the adversities that afflict them, who establish salah and spend in charity from what we have provided for them. The Arabic word manasik, translated above as rites, refers to all forms of worship, as well as sacrificing animals and other rites and rituals of Hajj. The verse could refer to all these meaning, however, judging from the context of the verse, it would more appropriately refer to the sacrificing of animals. Allah says we have ordained rites for every nation so that they may take Allah's name on the animals that Allah has provided for them. Your deity is but one deity, so submit to Allah, to Him. Therefore, thereafter Allah says, and convey glad tidings to the humble, describing who these people are. Allah then says that they are those who, when Allah or His qualities, commands, warnings, etc., is mentioned, their hearts tremble. Further describing them, Allah continues to say that they are those who patiently endure the adversities that afflict them, who establish salah and spend in charity from what we have provided for them. This includes spending in zakat and all other avenues, not forgetting spending on animals for sacrificial, sacrificial purposes. 36 والبدن جعلناها لكم من شائر الله لكم فيها خير فاذكروا اسم الله عليه صوافا فإذا وجبت جنوبها فكلوا منها وأطعموا القانع والمؤتر كذلك سخرناها لكم لعلكم تشكرون. And we have made the large animals from Allah's sign, in which lies good for you. So take Allah's name on them as they stand in rows. Then eat from them when they fall on their sides, and feed the perse- uh, perseverant and the mendicant. We have subjected them for you in this manner so that you be grateful. لن ينال الله لحومها ولا دماؤها ولكن يناله التقوى منكم كذلك سخرها لكم لتخبروا الله على ما هداكم وبشر المحسنين. Their flesh and blood will never reach Allah, but your taqwa will reach Him. Allah has subjugated them for you in this way so that you proclaim His greatness for the guidance that He has granted you, and conveyed glad tidings to those who do good. The Arabic word budna, translated above as large animals, is the plural of badana and refers to camels and cattle according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimullah. Allah says, and we have made the large animals from Allah's sign in which lies good for you. The benefits of these animals lie in this world as in commonly understood as well as in hereafter, because sacrificing them for Allah will earn great rewards in the hereafter. According to Imam Shafi Rahmullah, the large animal refers only to the camel when applied to the rules of the average sacrificial animal. However, he say that when the word is used with reference to the rites of Hajj, it would refer to all types of animals that they normally be sacrificed, that is camels, cattle, goats and sheep. The Arab tribes possessed many camels and even kept record of the lineage of these camels. When the time for Hajj came, they would line up the camel, tie their legs, and slaughter them while the camel stood. This is referred to as nahar. The wisdom behind slaughtering them standing in that their soul emerged more easily in this way. After slaughtering the camels, they fall to the ground and are skinned. Referring to the purpose of Nahar, Allah says, so take Allah's name on them as they stand in rows, then eat from them when they fall on their sides, and feed the perseverant, that is, the one who is needy, yet does not beg from others, and the mendicant. It is more virtuous to give to those who are needy, but do not beg. We have subjugated them for you in this manner, so that you be grateful. Man should thank Allah for causing these animals to be subservient to him so that he can derive various benefits from them. If it were not for Allah, man could never subjugate these animals who are larger and stronger than he. Their flesh and blood will never reach Allah, but your taqwa will reach Him. Man derives the benefits of the animal's meat and organs. Allah does not require these things. Allah looks for the person's sincerity and devotion to Him when slaughtering. He must offer the sacrifice solely for Allah's pleasure and not for any other ulterior motives. Allah knows the inner secrets of the hearts and what intentions they bear. Hazrat Aisha Raziallahu Ta'ala anha reports from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that the most beloved act to Allah on the day of Nahar, 10th of Zulhajj, is the spilling of blood. The sacrificial animals, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam continued to say, the animal will appear with its horns, hairs, and hooves on the day of judgment, and it is accepted even before the first drop of blood falls to the ground. Therefore, sacrifice them with a happy heart. Narrated by Tirmizi. Hazrat Zaid bin Arqam Raziallah Ta'ala anhu narrates that the Sahaba Raziallah Ta'ala anhum asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what is this sacrifice? The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied, it is the practice of your father Ibrahim alayhi salam. They inquired what reward is in it for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, you will receive the reward of a good deed for every hair on the animal's body. The Sahaba Raziallah Ta'ala anhum then asked, what about those animals who have wool? The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, you will receive the reward of a good deed for every fiber of wool. Allah has subjugated them for you in this way so that you proclaim His greatness for the guidance that He has granted you. None would be able to carry out any virtuous deeds without the gifts of Iman and the guidance from Allah. Had Allah not granted guidance to the Muslims, they would also be slaughtering animals for false God. However, therefore, He has to be thanked in abundance. And convey glad tidings to those who do good, all those who are sincere, worshipping, believing, and grateful slaves of Allah must be congratulated because they shall all be blessed with innumerable bounties in the hereafter. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.